you in our 25 to 34 age bracket who didn't really grow up during the Cold War, let me tell you, you've missed out on the following. Some of the best music ever to come out of Great Britain, one of the scariest times to be alive in the modern world, one of the most laughable and yet terrifying government public protection plans we have ever seen, and a sound that still to this day chills me to the core. I refer, of course, to this. And right back there in the 80s and the fear. Yeah, welcome. Protect and Survive. Protect and Survive was a series of short animated films designed to inform the general public of what they should do in the event of a nuclear attack. And this wasn't a pie-in-the-sky fear in the 1980s. The UK was part of that grand standoff across the Iron Curtain. We had US missiles stationed on UK soil at places like RAF Greenham Common. The world had come terrifyingly close to a nuclear confrontation in 1962 with the Cuban Missile Crisis, and again in 1983 with Exercise Able Archer. To say we were paranoid would be unfair. They were produced by Richard Taylor Cartoons, which people of the period will associate with such timeless children's entertainment as Crystal Tips and Alistair, very cutting edge of animation there. And for the nostalgics and public information enthusiasts amongst you, they're also responsible for the Charlie Says series of public safety films, which I definitely grew up with. I'm sure many of you did as well. Just take a moment though to listen to the calm, reassuring words in this clip from the Casualties episode.
If anyone dies while you are kept in your fallout room, move the body to another room in the house. Label the body with name and address, and cover it as tightly as possible in polythene, paper, sheets, or blankets. Tie a second card to the covering. The radio will advise you what to do about taking the body away for burial.
That, our esteemed viewers, is the same people who taught us not to go off with strangers now telling us in nice colourful cartoons how to shrink wrap our dead relatives while we live on cold tin beans for 2 days straight. Yeah. The animations themselves were never publicly released by the government, but the BBC did obtain them and leaked them on their flagship current affairs programme Panorama, an episode of When the Bomb Drops. And the result was widespread mockery of both the films and the accompanying booklet. It tells you such joyful wisdom as how to choose a fallout room in your home, and advises this as a ground floor room away from all external walls. Well, I'm 47 years old at the time of recording. I have never owned, rented, or lived in a house in my life that could accommodate such a room. But are we being unfair to it? Let's take a look at this clip advising what to do when the sirens go off.
So take cover at once. Send your young children to the fallout room, then go quickly and turn off the gas and the electricity at the mains. Close down stoves. Damp down fires. Shut windows. And draw curtains.
We often laugh at the idea that we can protect ourselves from a nuclear blast by closing the curtains and hiding behind a padded door. But that was never what the idea was. After all, an Anderson shelter wouldn't help you survive a direct hit from a Luftwaffe bomb, and we don't ridicule those. Having the curtains closed is not going to help you from a direct hit. Of course it isn't. But if you're 10 miles away from the blast, for example someone living in Hungerford with a nuclear strike at Greenham Common, right up there at the top of the target list, having your curtains closed and performing duck and cover might just stop you being killed by flying glass. Now, whether you'd want to survive in the post-nuclear world is an entirely different matter. Short films explaining what the warning sirens mean, what supplies to make sure that you have, and how to stay aware of the situation. It's just basic good advice to those who had made that choice. It was never designed so that your family would stay safe. The booklet itself states, make your home and family as safe as possible. But that is an issue in itself. Safety, or anything close to it, just wasn't possible. And nobody in the government ever levelled with us on that score. Home Office Minister Leon Britton actually said in Parliament, the precautions and measures suggested in Protect and Survive, simple as they are and therefore capable of ridicule, would, if actually implemented, save a large number of lives if there were a nuclear attack. Not entirely convinced. But that, I feel, was the moment that people truly lost trust in the state as their protector. It called into question whether the government was being naive or were they being dishonest, and neither of these is a good look for a government that's looking to build trust and avoid fear. Did anybody outside Parliament actually think that the local council is going to be in any shape to advise you when it's safe to come out of your fallout room? Is there even going to be a local council left? It did highlight to people that the government's main aim was the protection of the government, that the continuity of the state was more important than individual life. And we took that rather personally. The government and the civil service all had bunkers like RAF at Green and the regional seat of government bunker in Leeds, and we were just left with doors at 60-degree angles in a fallout room that many of us wouldn't have. The divide between the government and the people had never been more obvious than it was at that time. You can find all these short films on YouTube these days, and you can download a PDF of the booklet itself and see what you think. Let us know what you think in the comments. Now, Protect and Survive has been mocked all throughout 80s popular culture, but its most powerful detractor was When the Wind Blows, Raymond Briggs' graphic novel and later animated film that tells the tale of two pensioners who remember the last war, where the British spirit and doing what you were told would get you through, where civil defence policy was aimed at rescue and treatment and not about scratching out a semi-functioning bureaucracy. It paints a stark and tragic picture as you follow Jim and Hilda through their blind faith that the authorities will see them through the crisis. You watch them follow all the guidance to the letter and on to their inevitable abandoned demise. 1 hour and 20 minutes of animated pensioners gave a better argument against the government's civil defence policy than any amount of parliamentary debate. Taking a side in this argument, though, is something that can be done with the pleasant hindsight of someone who lives in a world where this fear was unfounded, where the bomb didn't go off. At the time, though, the people would have roundly damned the government if they hadn't published advice, and they roundly damned them when they did. Maybe, if either side conceded that there are some things just outside the state's power to control, then things may well have been calmer, but they'd probably be a lot less funny. See you next week. Bye-bye.